We've got some big trucks coming through, so hopefully that noise won't be too disturbing for you. I have something to share with you today. I had an epiphany. Now, this is not necessarily fact. It is just something that I feel very strongly about, and some of it is based on fact, and some of it is based on decades of reoccurring dreams and memories that I have had of a life that's not here. I'm feeling pretty comfortable to share this with you because at this point in my life, I really don't give a hoot what other people think, because most of the species, human species, limits itself and is very closed-minded. It can't even imagine the massive power that we are. And so I want to share it with you because I think that you're going to keep an open mind on this. I think this is something you've probably never heard before, and you're going to love it. I'm going to talk about Mars, our relationship to it, what happened to it, why it happened. No one has ever discussed this. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. I just went for my walk. I'm going to discuss something today. I'm going to be so bold today to share something that I really want to talk about. But I know who I can share this with. You. You're here because you are open-minded to this. At least you want to explore the possibilities. So I'm going to share something with you. The last two videos, I read the first 2 pages of this book. Those pages contain everything you ever need to know about your existence here and beyond. I seriously mean that. And this is why I keep talking about this book. I have put everything that I teach in here, and I'm going to keep referring back to it, so I hope you'll get the book. It'll make sense to you. People are reading it over and over again to get it. Right, to really comprehend what I'm saying. Because you hold power that you can't even imagine. We are humans. We're playing roles out in illusions. We don't get out of that. We signed up for that. We need to play that out. Which means you are not this. You're the power behind that creates the illusion and that transforms into another illusion. You could be an angel in your next existence. You could be a cloud. It could be anything. Why? Because everything is just energy. And we think as humans that we can't be that or a rock or whatever. We don't imagine that we're just one power, just transforming. It's like saying, I can't be an ear. How can I be an ear? Yet you're on the same body and you function as a baby finger here on a body that really needs that finger and that ear. Sometimes they get lopped off. That's another discussion. We're going to talk about Mars today. Now, I'm working on getting a guest. I really hope that I can get him. He's a former plasma scientist. Plasma bombs, yeah, weapons. Don't hold that against him. He explored things beyond that most people in his industry as scientists would not want to hear about. You can lose your job for talking about cray-cray stuff like life on Mars. And that's what he did. So I want to share a little bit of the story about him. I'm not going to name him, although he has been publicly out there. I'm going to wait till I get him on the show. He was living through the Cold War between Russia and the United States, when at any moment they knew somebody could hit that button and nuke the other person. Nuclear power, of course, you know, we have put an end to that, hopefully. But something happened that this gentleman believes he helped, along with some other scientists, contribute to the end of that Cold War, at least a little shift in thinking about it. They were studying Mars, and they realized through actual science that there was direct evidence that it had been nuked. Nuclear power destroyed the entire planet. It wasn't just one bomb. The entire planet was enveloped in the dust and clouds and whatever it is that comes along with nuclear waste. The entire planet was covered. They were under the impression that if you nuked somewhere on this planet, let's say one of the countries nuked another, that the rest of the world could continue on. And they looked at Mars and realized that would not be the case. The entire planet would die, and everything on it. It would spread and create weather changes and continually go around the entire planet. And they got very depressed. He got in a very, very depressed state because they realized we're setting ourselves up for that. And there's no coming back from that. Now, for me, one bomb in one small area isn't acceptable. But he realized one decision would destroy the entire human species. They became so disturbed with this, they wanted to look into it further. And so all of the studies on Mars were coming back, what it was composed of, and again, the nuclear fallout evidence. That is when they discovered the photographs of a pyramid, of course we know several by now, and the face, absolutely unmistakable face in the side of the planet. In other words, this was constructed by humanoids of some kind. And near it, a pyramid, very much like what we have here. Now, NASA has come back and said, oh, it's just light or whatever, and skewed the photographs. But he saw direct evidence, along with the other scientists, that it is, in fact, unmistakably man-made or humanoid-made. There is no getting around this. And that they saw photographs from several angles that the rest of the public didn't get to see. This created hope. It created hope that maybe they could go to Russia and show them this evidence that there are other beings out there and that we don't have to go down that road. And of course they did share this evidence, and Russia actually did look at this, and there was discussions going on about this. Why that should change our decision, I don't know, but it did make a difference. It gave them hope that this should be an example of what we don't want to do. This is going to be the final outcome. Now, he did a lot of studies on this, on what these people were. He came to the conclusion, and I'm going to share with you what I have experienced and know that connects directly to this information. I had never heard this information before until the other night. I love science. That's the only thing I ever look at is science. What are they coming up with? Their conclusion, his conclusion, was this was a primitive people, and that whoever nuked the planet wanted to make sure that no one survived. But nobody knows why they would do that. And so I have distinct memories of a planet. Now, he described the terrain, which I've never heard this. I never really studied anything about Mars. He explained the terrain as having a lot of water areas, big water areas, and some desert. And I have videos I've shot with you for years describing that terrain and where I lived. They were not big mountainous regions. It was similar to Earth, but it was different. There was a lot more water, a lot more areas of water. And the one thing that I remember about that lifetime was that we were always under attack. It was like air raids constantly with craft, not airplanes, with craft. And I remember that we were so used to being out, we would be at an event somewhere and the craft would come in and we would all have to leave. These craft were destroying cities. I remember seeing cities lighting up in the distance, and you would see literally hundreds of people walking out of the cities to the next city. And we would give them refuge. I remember being a part of that. Now here's what I want to share with you. Not only did he describe perfectly what Mars really is, and it coincided with my description. I've actually drawn these cities in detail with the water and everything. It not only coincided with my memories of living there, but the fact that we were always under attack. Now here's what I want to share with him, if I get to speak to him shortly. Martians were not primitive people, and I believe I know why the planet was destroyed. Have you ever heard me say over and over again, the meek shall inherit the earth? I say that a lot. I refer to that life as the meek. The life of Martians, the people, the humanoids, by the way, looked just like humans, were peaceful people. They were not combative, nor would they fight. They were not primitive. In fact, they had use of high technology. That's how they were able to construct pyramids and all kinds of things. But they used it for good. They would never use it for destruction under any circumstances. They were meek. They were peaceful people. Now, I want to share something with you. If there is factions, and by the way, it wasn't one, it was several factions battling over control of the planet. There were positive, very peaceful ones from other planets trying to protect the Martians, and eventually did not win that battle. Others were coming in trying to destroy areas, different cities, take it out one by one. Now here's what I remember. At one point there was so much damage done to the planet that the skies were actually dark, and it had obliterated any sun that was going to reach the planet. We were dying. I was part of a crew that evacuated people who wanted to leave the planet. That's not a primitive group of people. So instead of fighting back and getting into any battles, we chose to leave the planet. I was one of those people. In fact, I gave my parents the choice to come because I was part of that team, evacuation team. And they chose to stay on the planet because they knew that we don't end. We are not beings that die. And they were not living in fear. In fact, the Martian whole species was not living in fear. So they didn't experience what we experience here that causes us to battle with one another and hoard and argue. We are actually so much more destructive than some of the aliens that you believe come here are negative. All right? So here's what happened. Why do you think a species would take out an entire planet of meek people? And you're going to love this. You're going to love what I have to share with you. They are more of a threat to the universe than a negative species is. If you are a low frequency species and you want to control, a peaceful, meek species is a greater threat because we are vibrations and frequencies. It's not just people on a planet. They were a demonstration, a perfect species who lived in total peace and no fear. If you are a low species, E.T., you don't want that demonstrated throughout the universe if you want to control planets and you're coming from an ego standpoint like we do, trying to control other territories in that. Well, they feel that way about planets and universes and galaxies. The only way that they could assure that that peaceful species didn't infiltrate the rest of the universe and pretty much oust them is to nuke the entire planet. They had to do that. That's the only way they would have gotten rid of them. Now here's the best part about that. They know they never died. Those souls, that energy field from those meek, have you heard the term, the meek shall inherit the earth? I want you to think about the word inherit. You only inherit something when somebody dies and leaves it, right? When somebody dies, ultimately. The meek shall inherit the earth, I don't believe refers to humans inheriting the earth. I think it's referring to the humanoids who lived on Mars. They inherited the earth. The ones that left inherited the earth. Now, you could say that's a stretch. I believe it is exactly what it means. The meek shall inherit the earth, because we are not meek. Humans are not meek. Even enlightened humans are not meek. But they were. They didn't live in fear, any kind of conflict, anger, destruction on any level. They were true enlightened beings. So much so that they would not fight or battle or kill anybody else for a territory. Therefore, they were extinguished, except for those who did leave the planet. They had technology and they used it to leave. Where did they go? They inherited the earth. The Meek did. I am so sure about that for my reality and my belief. I want to put it out there because I thought this would be a lot of fun for you to think about this. If we're talking about humans, if the Meek shall inherit the earth, that means somebody has to die for us to get it. We're already here. We will shift into a new earth, a new way of living. But we can't inherit something we already live on. We are here already. I believe it's referring to those who totally demonstrated what total enlightenment was, the Meek, and that they inherited the earth, those who decided to evacuate. The rest were okay with transitioning to another space. They were not afraid of that, and they knew that that wasn't an ending, and that they went out without conflict. What do you think about this? I want to bring in my special guest because he spoke about that part as if they were like primitive people, like our cavemen. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. You can't build pyramids if you're primitive. And I believe that they were the ones that helped build the pyramids here, because I believe that they used sound technology instead of equipment or anything else. I believe that they held those powers to do that and built the pyramids. Now, that one I don't really know for sure, but I think it coincides with what's on their planet. What do you think about this? When I heard this about Mars, I realized so many things just became so clear to me that I didn't know. What was this and why was this? I never knew why we were being taken out. I never knew, but I knew that no Martian, no person, I should say, because I didn't know if it was Mars at the time, no person on that planet ever fought back. They took care of each other. And they survived with this battle going on all the time with those who were trying to protect the planet and those who wanted to destroy the beings on that planet. What, do you like this? This is sort of cool because it made so much sense to me, and all of a sudden I realized why an entire planet would be taken out in one shot. But those who are on that level frequency know that nothing can be destroyed. So the lower frequency egos, they think that they can end or destroy things because they're still trying to control a material world or galaxy or whatever it is, universe. And so they're still in that low frequency power and control. We as humans are one of the most dangerous. We don't fight against others. We fight against others and ourselves. That's a lose-lose situation all around. And so I'm speaking to you. Are you participating in that in any way? Can we be the species, the human species, that demonstrates that we can be meek also? Because you can never be destroyed. But what you do here, your response to anything, goes with you. So when this body ends, you continue on with the decisions that you made here and whatever frequency that was on. So I wrote the book with this information, and I wanted to share it with you because I believe that there are many beings here, and have been for many, many years, that are a product of that history, that don't die, that transitioned to a new planet, and I believe Earth is one of those planets. There could be other planets that they went to, but I believe Earth was definitely inherited by the Meek. Something to ponder. These are free videos. If you guys want to come over, I have a free master class to help you shift your mindset, to get out of the fear, to break through the fear, to start to control your thoughts, your programming, and everything I teach over at landriaonkka.com is to help you do that. So if you want to come on over and be one of my students, I welcome you. It starts with a free masterclass. I hope you'll subscribe and share these videos. Something to ponder, right? And of course, we have videos here, free videos, of how to create online businesses. Digital Explorers is coming out in 2023. I'm going to help you not only decide what you'd like to do for a living online, because so many of you don't know what to do. I would like an online business, but I have no clue how to do it. You think it's difficult. It's not. I will show you how to choose that. I have an actual course called Creation Station. And Digital Explorers is a planet-conscious, planet-friendly training. In other words, everything I train you on is to improve our planet and to eliminate anything that would destroy animals, harmful to people, the planet, everything. Everything we do is to create that new earth that we're creating. The meek shall inherit the earth, but humans can create a new one. Are you ready to do that? You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you. Namaste.